Time to jump into some breaking news on the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy will get you a deposit match of up to $100. Go do that now, all right? Mike Williams, big Mike Williams, the oft-injured Mike Williams. Mike Williams, who has been called trash on this show before, not by me, not by Garion Thorne, who is joining us, but by one Mr. Tim Andercust.
That's not my name. It's also Doctor, not Mister.
Sorry, Doctor. Doctor of Cust himself. Turns out you got this Mike Williams guy on your team now, Tim. And from early returns, it sounds like you said that he's better than Tyreek Hill.
I did not, and I stand by my statement. I did not want Mike Williams. That's not where I wanted the team to go. And it's not that Mike Williams' talent level is particularly awful. It's that he doesn't play, right? Like, he doesn't play enough. He could, like I said to somebody in a chat thread, he could easily be the offensive player of the month of September. It wouldn't shock me. He could have great numbers in that month. But you need people you can rely on when you're a team that's built around a must-win now because your quarterback is 40 and because your team is desperate to win at this moment. And I just don't think Mike Williams is someone it compounds risk on risk on risk. When you sign the best tackle available in free agency, who's at real injury risk, and you'll sign the best wide receiver available in free agency, who's a tremendous injury risk, and you're already starting a quarterback who, while is a first ballot Hall of Famer and a 4-time MVP, missed all last year with a Achilles injury and is 40. You just continue to multiply the injury risk, and the Jets are not lucky enough of a team for this to work. They certainly are. They're owed a lot of injury success, given the fact that last year and the year before just went so disastrously for them. But it probably won't happen. Like, things don't quite work that way. So Mike Williams is a lot of money to spend on a player that I just don't think we can trust down the stretch. On paper, this offense is as good as anybody's offense, and the defense was already as good as anybody's defense. But I just don't know that I can trust it.
You also said they had the league's best defense, which is untrue.
I think it's probably the best defense, or if not the best, within the top 5 defenses. Yeah, it is. It's an excellent defense with superstar talent at every level of the defense.
So here's a quote from Tim. Gary, you ready for this one? Imagine how well Mike Williams might play with a star quarterback finally.
Ooh.
Like, Herbert could become a star quarterback. He's got all the talent and all of the skill set to become one, but he's not a star quarterback yet. He's a potential superstar quarterback, but you have to actually do the stuff required, which means winning more than half of your games in the first 3 years of your career. Yeah, I'm not super excited about Mike Williams. I said what I said.
That could also be any Mike Williams.
Yeah, it could be the Mike Williams who played in Seattle.
Look, Garion, quote.
Yeah. I just think that, Tim's not wrong when he says that you're putting risk on risk on risk on risk. But at the end of the day, if you're the Jets and your window is this small, I think you take these shots. Look, only one team can win. And generally speaking, in the NFL, it's a team that remains the healthiest. And yes, I guess in theory, you could, bring in some players that have been quote unquote healthier and more reliable, but you're only reliable and healthy until the first time you get hurt. And that can happen at any moment in the NFL. So give me all the top end talent you can possibly manage, really try to amplify your ceiling. And hey, if there's a 5% chance you could win the Super Bowl, the only way you're going to move that number, it's not by signing a guy who's going to be available 16 games of the year. If the guy's not any good, go out and try to get the best player available. And 15 million or upwards of 15 million, not even the craziest wide receiving contract we saw handed out today. So it's all fake money in the NFL anyway. So just raise your ceiling. It's fine.
I agree with you completely. And the Jets are one of the 7 or 8 teams that can win the Super Bowl.
I think that Mike Williams is good. This is the stance that I've always had. It's you who doesn't like him, Tim, and said that he sucks. And care for him. You said earlier today Alan Lazard was better than he was, who was statistically the worst receiver in football last year.
Well, he had statistically the worst quarterback throwing to him. Okay, sure. think Lazard is actually a pretty decent receiver if he has a decent quarterback, and he didn't last year. He'll be good as a third receiver, I suppose, because that's what he'll become in the offense. But, don't go too far because Mike Williams is going to miss significant periods of time, I'm sure. And not just the last 2 weeks of the year when we're resting up before our bye. I'm talking about like actually games and like the stretch run. Garion's right with everything he says, and it's true. The Jets moved themselves with this offseason back into the circle of teams that could, if things break correctly, could win a Super Bowl. But I just can't get super excited for, hinging a lot of my hopes on players that I just don't think can be there for me when it counts.
Another quote from, what is this? 3 hours ago, Garion. We're scouting out hotels in New Orleans with this team.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
this is all talk until Mike Williams drops 150 yards week 1.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's comeback player of the year, dark horse MVP candidate. Bomb squad is back. Best receiving core in the league.
Oh, it has that potential.
Oh, don't. It's already, I don't know if it's in the league, but already, Garion, and this is a shot fired at you here. The team's 2 best receivers are better than anybody else's in the division.
Untrue.
Very, very untrue.
Okay, well, I stand by that. Over an aging wide receiver who, doesn't show up for the Dolphins in big moments.
Well, if we're going to talk about poor quarterback play affecting receivers.
Oh, no. Tua had the most passing yards of any quarterback in the NFL last year.
Well, I'm talking about the environment where fans left with frostbitten fingers, sir.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about the week before.
He caught a touchdown in that game. It was the only play they had that moved it more than 5 yards.
They played so great that they scored 7 whole points.
Tyreek scored those 7 points.
Let's talk about the week before that then. Let's talk about when the weather was perfect in Miami against Buffalo, and he didn't do enough.
Do you realize that Tyreek Hill is 6 months older than Mike Williams? If you're going to talk about like old receivers here.
Sure.
So Mike Williams isn't old, but Tyreek Hill is?
I'm not here to up Mike Williams. I think Garrett Wilson.
You just told us. Yeah, I mean, he's better
Garrett
than
Wilson's the star receiver.
So you think
he's better than Jalen Waddle then at least, but I don't think that's correct either.
Jalen Waddle's just a check down receiver.
Didn't he have like the highest ADOT in the league last year?
Oh, yes, that's foolish. That's foolish.
What do you mean that's foolish? What are you talking about?
I mean, like I just don't. That belies what we watch all year, which is that he just makes so many of his receptions on shorter crossing routes.
But everyone said that about the Dolphins this year, and none of that was true.
Yeah, they're great. They're so great that they lost an almost unlosable divisional lead and then scored 7 points in the playoffs.
I'm not saying they're great. I'm just
great
saying
offense.
they push the ball down the field more than any other team in the league.
You're really moving the goalposts here on what your argument is. That I don't like the Dolphins. They're not the best team in the league. That's not the argument, pal. You just said that the Jets receivers are better than the Dolphins receivers, which they're not. No one besides you thinks that.
Oh, I forgot they have Hunter Craycraft. Oh my goodness.
You just talked about Alan Lazard as your third receiver. Again, statistically, the worst.
It's River, is it? Sorry.
The worst. Yeah, take me to the river.
They also re-signed your boy, Braxton Berrios.
Who used to be
bunches of Berrios.
Who used to be awesome until he joined the Dolphins, according to Tim. He was a fringe Pro Bowler the year that he played for the Jets, according to Tim. But now he sucks.
He was a fringe Pro Bowler.
Because
he wasn't very good last year.
He wasn't very good on the Jets.
2 really awesome receivers caught all the passes.
Yeah, no, the Dolphins are so great that they lose all the important games they're in with their amazing offense. That they're just so impressive.
Well, when was the last time you played an important game, buddy?
Well, it's been a while.
So how would you know? There's no sample on the Jets. This is sort of like the Rory McIlroy thing. Everyone shits on Rory because he can't win the big one, but he's in all of these majors. He'd be better off missing the cut in all of them. Then people just wouldn't think about him. That's the Jets.
Okay.
They're not competitive. So when the Dolphins lose in a big game, at least they're playing in big games.
Recently, they've gotten into big games. For the last 20 years, they have only been in like 2 big games.
And
give them that.
And what have the Jets been in? 2? And those happened 15 years ago?
Not quite 15 years. We're getting there, though. We're getting there.
14
it's true.
Okay, is it 14 years ago?
Yeah, we're getting there. I'm well aware. But I didn't come here to talk about how much better the Jets are than the Dolphins. Like that stands true already.
So they're already better than the Dolphins.
Yeah, but that's not saying much.
But what if they're
The
not
Dolphins
better
were
than
picked
the Dolphins?
apart in free agency. Talk about teams that got significantly worse.
No, but hold on. That doesn't make any sense. Because you shit on their defense all year, and now they lose the pieces.
Nice players.
Hold on. Shut up. Shut up. Hold on. Let me finish my point here. Garion and Tim. Garion, this question is actually for you. This point is for you. Tim ragged on their defense about how it was trash all year long. Then they lose pieces of said defense, but now the defense was good all of a sudden, according to Tim, because they lost the shitty players that Tim ragged on all year.
I noticed that. I did notice that. Look, I'm not here to defend the Dolphins. I'm not here to say they're a Super Bowl caliber team. I just think their receivers are better than the Jets receivers. That is probably, you picked the best unit they have. So that was a mistake. But look, I am here to say, and again, I told you earlier, I think the Jets have had a very good offseason. I think they have put themselves in a position, if things break right, which again, I know sends you into a spiral because they often do not break right, but
often don't break right.
This is every team that doesn't win the Super Bowl, though. This is the 49ers not having a quarterback 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game. Like, this stuff happens. Good teams get taken down by injuries. So I think the more you worry about it, and if you start signing worse players because they might be healthier longer, I think that's a bad way to build a team. I think Mike Williams is a good receiver, and I think he will help the Jets.
I was hoping to draft a receiver rather than...
You still might.
And we still might, but now I feel like we have probably other places to look. But, yeah, I mean, I really hope Mike Williams plays well. I hope he's really good. I hope that despite anything criticisms I've levied towards his play, I hope that he plays fantastically for the Jets. But I'm not going to pretend like I'm doing a cartwheel about it, because I'm not.
Oh, really? Because, again, from this same thread from 4 hours ago, question posed to Tim from our other friend, Tim Butts, a regular, never seen on this show, but quite often mentioned. Quote, do you think that the Jets are better than the Chiefs? Instant reply within, from 6:07 and 6:07. These are back to back. Right now, yes. Tim Andercust.
Yeah, on paper, because no one's hurt. On paper, sure.
What paper are you looking at? Is it you can't read? Is that the problem?
Like on paper,
Jets Reddit.
On paper, I think the Jets are probably a better team, but they're not going to make it through this. But come January, are they going to be the better team? Almost certainly not.
So this is, you're just hyping yourself up again. So when they don't win and like some fringe guy, like some 42-year-old quarterback gets hurt, you're like, well, they were gonna win. So I'm counting it as back-to-back hypothetical Super Bowls.
No, not this year.
Is this what you're setting yourself? Well, it sounds like you already said that they're better than the Chiefs, which is just fucking insane.
No, I think their roster is.
They're not. Their roster is not better than the Chiefs roster. Point blank. It's not even close.
I would love to play the first game of the year against them.
That's great. You know what the thing is? You probably want to be playing in the last game of the season. It doesn't really matter what you do. You know what? The Chiefs lost the first game of the season last year. Didn't turn out to be that big of a deal.
No, my point was I'd prefer to play these teams early when my team is as healthy as possible.
No, Pat's right. This is definitely the reason this signing is so good is because Mike Williams is either A, healthy, and then probably a good and productive receiver, or B, he gets hurt and you get to award yourself another hypothetical Super Bowl. So this could not be better. This is the ideal situation for you.
Tim, are you at your office on Monday or are you at home?
Why?
Because I wanted to do the Masters menu thing as well. But if you're going to be at home, we can do that with Jeff because I'm sure that he has very strong takes on Masters menus.
No, I'm not going. I don't intend to be home.
All right, so we should probably talk about the Masters menu right now. The Masters, John Rahm, your boy from Live, released his menu for the Masters, and it looks delicious, is what I want to say. And everyone that I've seen tweeting about it who's like into food really seems to like this. Everyone who likes deep fried pickles as like a full meal seems to be like, oh my God, this is horrible. The menu is amazing. Gary and I are you looking it up? I just sent it to you. I sent it to you.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I sent it to you via text earlier. But there's just a lot of different options on here. It just sounds like you're a germaphobe who doesn't want to do tapas meals.
I don't particularly care for... I looked at all of that stuff, and none of it was particularly exciting to me. Like, I guess the steak entree looked decent, but I don't want scrambled eggs. I don't want some cheese that I don't know where it's from. I don't want some puff pastry as a dessert with chantilly cream. If it were up to me, if I were designing the menu, I wouldn't design a menu like that. God bless John Rahm. That's what he likes. That's what he wants. It's his call. We can have whatever he likes. But like, I look at that and that doesn't excite me in the least.
I just don't see what's on this that you don't like.
Like what Scheffler had last year was a much better menu.
You want fucking cheeseburger?
Tim,
you want to go to the Masters and eat cheeseburger sliders? That's what you want?
I thought that was awesome. What a great idea.
Scotty Scheffler's menu is for your typical American who's never left their own state. That's the type of menu. This goes back to the travel thing that we're going to talk about on an upcoming Cuss Corner. That you're just so afraid to do anything. There's delicious things on this meal. Like even to just go back to Kenny, and when Kenny was talking about when you can have, what is it called, the acorn fed ham, like the cured meat, the wagyu of ham, that it has to be heated by a candle so it doesn't actually bind together, that it will melt in your mouth. That sounds fucking delicious.
I guess, but if it were up to me, I would think, as I said on Twitter, if it were mine, it would be Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizzas and Corona beer, and that's what I would be having on the menu. If you didn't like pizza, then like KFC or something could be the alternative.
So you want to be like Trump?
The weird thing to me is,
you're Trump.
When you look at this menu, it's not even like aggressively like niche. Like it's, you start reading some of this stuff like creamy chicken fritters and with confit potatoes, chorizo with potato. Like, I think you're just afraid of the foreign words. Like, this is all very
that's what this
food
all boils down to. You're like, this isn't deep fried. It makes me scared to eat it.
It's just
there's an accent aigu above an I. Well, that's too international for me. I can't try that.
Not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not the type of meal that I get excited for. Other people do, obviously, and that's great.
Hold on.
Well, win the Masters then, pal.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing.
Or go to fucking Pizza Hut, like you just said.
That's what I would be providing, yes.
Tim, do you think if you won the Masters, that would have enough cachet to bring back Pizza Hut buffets?
Maybe. Or enough cachet that I could convince McDonald's to cater it with pizza.
And also, you said you didn't like sheep cheese, right? You said you...
Ugh.
But here's the whole thing, Garion. I invited Tim and a bunch of people over for a dinner party not too long ago, and we had a cheese tray that was out. None of the cheese on that tray was cow's cheese. It was goat cheese and sheep cheese. And, maybe Tim ate one to be polite, but he didn't have to eat the other 10 pieces of the cheese, which apparently he doesn't like. He's like a little child that you just tell him it's something different, then all of a sudden it tastes better.
Doesn't that happen a lot with you, though, where you'll take him out to a restaurant and he'll have something a little more upscale, a little fancier, and really enjoy it, and then talk about how his life has completely changed because he likes this thing now? He's
been going around telling people, especially like in our group chats, that like if you go to a steakhouse, Wagyu is the only thing that you should ever order when you go to a steakhouse. You know who never orders it? Tim. He eats mine.
Well, it's just so darn expensive.
Well, you know what? Then don't be telling fucking everyone to go get it.
But it is delicious. But it is expensive.
Then pay for it.
Also, didn't we have an episode of Cuss Corner where Tim thought he invented tapas?
Yes.
So, like, this is perfect. This is a bunch of small dishes. Like, this is what you wanted, Tim. It's basically...
Not these dishes,
though. It's sort of a buffet.
These don't really speak to me. I'm sorry. Like, I perfectly respect that other people think this is great. But the Scheffler menu is far more up my alley. And I resent being told that I need to prefer this menu.
That's all you do is tell people what they need to prefer.
Yeah, you want the fucking yokel menu.
I think the yokel menu sounds delicious.
I know you do. It sounds like you're a fucking yokel.
No, that's what
John Rahm won the Masters. John Rahm won the Masters. He has a bit of class, it looks like.
Sure, if this is what he really likes. I don't know how good lentil stew is, but God bless them. They can enjoy it, but I don't want that. I want a JBC. I want stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut with pepperoni on it.
That's Tim's types of tapas right there.
Yeah, Tim's tapas, eating corn dogs like a fucking psychopath.
Those pogos were so good.
I bet John Rahm's chorizo is real good too.
It may be good. I'm not even disputing that it may be good. It's just not the ideal menu for me.
It's his mother's homemade soup. It's probably
Sure.
really good.
I hope it is for their sake. I hope
says
is
it on
good.
the
I hope
menu.
They enjoy it.
Yeah, it says Mama Rahm's classic lentil stew. Like lentil stew, like it's not like here's your dish. It's a big bowl of stew. No, there's a whole bunch of different things. You have a little bit of stew, and then you have that. What is it?
This is not what I want.
Would you bring, like, let's say in a crazy mixed up dream world, you've already won the Masters, and you're going to this dinner. Would you be bringing like JBCs in your pocket to
Would I
like
pull a Tom
sneak under the
Brady?
table?
Would I pull a Tom Brady and bring my own personal food to Augusta
Yeah.
National? I think I would pick something on the menu that I could live with and eat what I had to eat. If I didn't particularly care for it, just eat a little bit of it and then eat for real when I got home.
Eat for real. So what would that? So you
Get a pizza or something
You'd order a
afterwards.
pizza.
Yeah, or get a bucket of
it's a
KFC or
real-
something later.
Bucket of KFC. You're fucked, pal.
No, I'm not.
You really are. Like that's fucking disgusting.
No, it's not.
It's truly disgusting. Like it's
But
making.
like, if I were eating this, like, I would certainly. I'm sure the steak. Like, I could order that steak and eat it, and I'm sure it'd be fine. But it's not the perfect. It's not my menu, and it shouldn't be. I didn't win the Masters, but if I did win the Masters, mine would be more reflective of the things that I enjoy.
It's funny, the people just Chris Powers is the one who tweeted this out, Gary, and he just put a tweet below the tweet of the menu that just says, quote, "I hate this menu. What the people who say that eat." And it's a picture of spaghetti with ketchup on it.
Oh,
Well, that would not be for me either. That would be no.
But that's the same
would
basic
you just be
range that you're in.
recreating the like the Trump? What was it like the
When he got all the-
NCAA champions? He
Yeah, he
Yeah,
got all
when Clemson won. Yeah,
he got all the McDonald's hamburgers.
It wasn't just McDonald's. It was like 4 or 5 various fast food places
Yeah.
that they brought in.
So
You
that
had,
was
like,
your dream.
People eating off of like fine bone china from like the Wilson administration with a Big Mac.
And that's what you want for the Masters.
You know what? From reports of that event, people were very pleased with that event. There were no complaints.
So who was reporting
It
that?
was a great event.
Yeah, did Trump come out and say many people are saying that this was the greatest event of all time?
No, but you didn't hear people regretting that they didn't have like some stuffed chicken plated meal over this stuff. Now, some of us have simpler tastes. I know it's hard to believe.
Yeah, you're fucking.
Some people are-
you have such simple taste. We might as well call you fucking Simple Jack over here. Like, give me a
Some
fucking
people
break.
have a more
Get bent, pal.
democratic taste than others do.
That doesn't
And
sound
I
like it.
don't
Hold
see-
on. That doesn't sound like a very democratic taste. That sounds like I am so afraid to try something new. I can only try things that are deep fried for 20 minutes.
No, what it means is
Not enough
that
grease
I
in
don't
this for
see-
me. I can't get heart disease from this right away.
I don't see eating, particularly fancy or unusual foods as a status symbol to.
There's
make me
nothing.
feel-
There's nothing overly fancy on this entire thing.
It's just pork loin. It's sausage. It's chicken. Like it's a fritter.
The only fritters I like are apple fritters.
How do you know? What other fritters have you had?
I've had corn fritters before. I didn't care for them.
Really? Where'd you have them?
Yeah, I had them from President's Choice. They made them in the appetizer box.
So you tried
they
a
cooked in the
sample
air
at
fryer.
you tried them at a sample at a fucking grocery store that was like
No,
this
I
big?
bought them. I bought them and cooked them in my air fryer, and they were not very good.
They were like frozen to buy, right? Like,
Oh,
you just
yeah.
want- like, my guy.
I didn't care for them.
I mean, it's too bad that the show we just did, Garion, isn't out yet. We can talk about him putting a thing of Cheese Whiz in the microwave and heating it up and calling it queso.
Well, that was
Yeah.
my first attempt, which I said was not a very good attempt.
Yeah, your second attempt was melting Kraft singles and then calling that queso, which you said was
was a better
pretty great.
No, what I said was it wasn't that great, and I never really did it again.
Yeah, you said it was. Yeah, sorry, you said it wasn't that great, implying that it was great.
No, not really. I mean, not so much that I would do it again. Now I would just like buy the pre-made stuff, buy Tostitos or whatever.
Maybe when you describe things as not great, you should say what you really mean as dog shit.
Well, I'm not going to be so harsh.
Well, man, it sounds, but the way that you're describing it is like it was really good.
You
No,
called
I'm not talking about the Dolphins receiving core here.
So you think that the Dolphins receiving core is dog shit?
No, I'm just making it funny. Not that bad. They're just not as good as the Jets. That's all.
I don't know. I just, if you don't like this menu, you strike me as the type of person that can't go outside in the rain because your mouth is always so agape that there's a chance you might drown.
See, there you go. Judging again. Judging. I'm not judging anybody who likes this type of menu and thinks it's great. You know, all I ask is that I not be judged in return for saying that I would prefer a different type of menu with different types of foods that are a little bit more comforting to me.
I just don't understand how you can judge foods you've never had.
I'm saying that that's not what I would want.
How do you know? You've never fucking had this stuff.
Because I know what I like.
No, you don't. How do you know what you like? If you've never had something, how do you know if you like it?
But I'm never going to try everything. So, like, what's the limiting principle?
You could try.
But you know what? You know what's a great way to try a bunch of stuff quickly is tapas.
What's the limiting principle here? That I should always try something different every single time?
I think that not constantly ordering the same thing every single day over and over and over. Like when you go, maybe try something new. Maybe
too bad. I like what I don't care. I like what I like. I'm not going to compromise.
But the thing is, you have nothing to base that against. You don't seem I
had things in my life that I don't like. I like what I like.
Apparently, corn fritters is one. What other foods don't you like besides things that 4-year-olds don't eat, like tomatoes and vegetables?
I'm not sure. I do like vegetables actually quite a bit. Mushrooms. I don't care for those.
Vegetable.
I don't care for raw onion.
Vegetable.
I like cooked onion. I don't care for raw onion. I don't like ketchup.
It's not really a food.
No, it's a condiment, but I suppose other foods don't I care for. I don't like anything that comes from a goat or a sheep.
Which is not true because you ate both of those, and
but I could never eat that. If I knew that, I could never eat that.
How does that make any fucking sense?
What difference does it make?
I just couldn't. I just
you did. You did, and you liked it. All we had to do was not tell you what it was. This is delicious.
Yes, but now that I knew, it's mind over matter or matter over mind.
So
it is.
You're just fucking warped, is what the answer is.
I'm not. Just I can't.
But you did, and you liked it.
Yeah, I don't even remember liking it, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, you just went through all the foods you don't like, and apparently this entire John Rahm menu and ketchup and onions. Those are apparently the only things that you don't like.
No, I would eat many or try many of the things on that menu. That wasn't my point. My point was that it's just not the menu for me. Like, I would not be excited or think, oh, what a great menu. I would try just about anything on that menu. There's nothing that seems like particularly offensive.
Then what? Then I don't understand what but I don't understand what your problem with it is. Then, if you've never had these meals and they don't look offensive to you, wouldn't that be exciting to try?
I'm not sure that I would find it exciting, and certainly without ever trying it, I certainly wouldn't go on at length about what a great menu it looks like.
I mean,
really don't know.
It's a great menu because you can see the things that are on it, and you have a lot of different options. So if there is something that you don't like, you don't necessarily have to eat that. You can eat the other things. I just think,
and I might like some of that stuff, but I would like more of the stuff that I like. That would make me happier.
Do you just want to eat you just want to eat fast food every day?
No, not every day, but if I was
every
putting
day,
together my
just not 3
menu,
times a day.
That just wouldn't be the menu I'd put together.
No, you said fucking Pizza Hut and KFC.
That would be on there. Mozzarella sticks as an appetizer would be on there. Chicken wings would be on there as an appetizer. For dessert, I might have a deep and delicious cake. I don't know.
Would it be mild chicken wings?
There could be a variety of sauces. I'm not sold on that. A fruit tray. The fruit tray. There would be a fruit tray and a vegetable tray.
This sounds like something you go to your local Lions Club with a bunch of 80-year-olds and find.
Yeah, and that makes me happy.
Oh, Paul, yes.
Tim says that he doesn't like all of these things, but then, our Christmas party...
He tries everything.
There was a bunch of really delicious things, because Pat had, caterers come in, and there was different types of meatballs and scallops and all of these other things. And you loved all of it, Tim. You loved it. Nobody else was even able to eat the meatballs because you ate.
You ate them all.
I never said I don't like this stuff. I'm just saying I don't like it as much as I like the things that I really like the best.
But that wasn't your take. Your entire take was I don't like this.
If you read what those meatballs were probably described as on the menu, you'd probably I don't think I would like that. But then,
I mean, it would
when you open
depend
your
what it was made out of,
horizons,
I
I think
suppose.
you'd be surprised. You like more things than you think you do.
it just wouldn't be the menu for me.
So to quote you, because I'm looking at the Twitter thread here
Yeah.
of when you applied to it, when you replied to it. And it's funny that people if anyone said this is like a fancy meal, it absolutely isn't. Just because John Rahm is from Spain and these are Spanish dishes doesn't just automatically make them a fancy meal, by the way. But
Anything being served at Augusta National is probably going to be pretty fancy.
Not the pimento sandwiches.
No, I'm talking about at the Champions Dinner. Not
well,
on the course.
you just said you would bring Pizza Hut.
Yeah, but that's because no one does that kind of stuff.
Because they
They've
have a
been
bit of
prepared in a
they have-
He's
they have a bit of
thinking
common
outside
sense.
the box.
Yes, exactly.
It's breaking my brain.
But I said I wouldn't want this menu because this is not the menu I would want. That's how I interjected in that thread. I said I wouldn't want the menu either because I wouldn't want the menu.
And then you said you take stuffed crust pizzas instead.
Yes, I would. And some Corona. Yes, I would.
You don't even like Corona.
I do. I have two Corona.
What happened to
in
your
my fridge
magical
right
beer
now.
experience? Your craft beer renaissance.
I also really like. Look, I love craft beer, but as I've always said, I'm opposed to the people who only like craft beer. I like factory beer also, and I have nothing against it. And I have two ice cold Corona in my fridge right now.
Are they for you?
Yes, of course they're for me.
I don't believe you.
Or if it's
They're for guests.
But also for me, I like to. I mean, I'm
They're
not
for
a big.
guests. They're not for you. They're for guests.
I'm not a big drinker, but if I'm having the sort of thing that a beer would go with, I would have a beer.
What type of fast food does Corona pair best with?
Pizza, actually.
Okay.
But I mean, if I were having if I made my own for example, I have a make my own taco kit in my cupboard. If I were to make some tacos tomorrow night, I could have a Corona with that. That would be perfectly reasonable.
That would fit your Mexican theme of the night.
Yeah, I think that those would pair well.
Like when you say you have
Would
a
they not?
taco kit, like the prepackaged, like El Paso, whatever.
Stand up tacos.
But like
Stand up tacos.
like with like the kit.
That's El Paso if it's the stand-up version.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's the stand-up
you have like
tacos
the
with
mix
the-
and everything like that to go with it.
Yes, I do.
I mean, that's a way that I've grown over the years. I no longer like stand-up tacos.
Really?
Yeah, I'm out on stand-up tacos.
The greatest invention of the 20th century.
I really
You're out
thought
on it.
I really thought they were. Those were words that once came out of my mouth, but no longer out on stand-up tacos.
Oh, they're great. Okay, well, I'm still here. Just and you'll be back.
No,
Maybe back to
just,
stand-up
too much.
tacos.
I found that too much falls out of them. And when I want to have a taco, especially a hard, I'm more onto soft-shelled tacos, or even lettuce is taco at this point. But if I'm going to have a hard-shelled taco, I want to be able to grip it like this, Gary. You know what I'm talking about. You don't want everything to fall out of it. Everything falls out of the stand-up one. And if you try to crunch it together so the meat doesn't fall out, the shell breaks.
Yeah, that can happen. But as long as you've got a fork to eat the residue of what falls out,
I don't
afterwards, which is
want
what
to have
most
a
people
fucking
do.
fork to eat tacos.
Well, no, like to eat what's on the plate after you finish your tacos.
Well, that's the thing with the non-stand-up tacos. The stuff doesn't fall out of them, so there's nothing to clean up. You just eat it as a taco.
I mean, the best of both worlds is you get a nice soft shell taco going, and then you get some of those taco. They're kind of like, I mean, they're basically Fritos for lack of a better term, but then you get the crunch, but you also get the security of the soft shell taco.
Oh, I thought you were going hard shell taco wrapped in a soft shell taco.
What?
I've seen people do that, but I've done it
Not
myself.
Taco Bell.
You have the hard shell, and then you just put a soft shell underneath the hard shell.
Who have you
So
seen
that,
do this?
I've done it personally.
I believe that's
So
called
besides,
the
besides
double-decker.
you, who has done this?
I believe
I've done it.
that's Taco Bell, the double-decker, I believe it's called.
And it's only because you can get certain kits which have both hard and soft in it, right? So
Yeah,
that's a way to make use of it.
I don't think that the purpose for having the soft shell and the hard shell was to take the soft shell and wrap it in the hard shell. I think
Maybe not, but I tell you what, it solves your problem, right? It keeps its integrity. You don't lose nearly as much, and it stands up. You get the crunch, and it holds together.
I think I like Garion's idea better. You know what's good for that is the fried out onions, Garion.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You put those in instead of actually putting
Yeah.
chips in. Then you get that sort of crunch in there. That just sounds like double carbs. I don't want the soft shell with the hard shell. That's crazy.
No, well, it's not crazy. I mean, people do it, but
Besides you, who does it?
well, the fact that it's called the double decker, as Paul mentioned, that it has a name indicates that it actually isn't that outside of the mainstream.
But that is something you go to Taco Bell to go get. But you're doing this at home on your own accord.
Yeah, do you think they invented it themselves? I highly doubt that. I'm certain that there are many people who have had the exact same issue that you're describing, which is, why does the stuff keep falling out of my hard shell taco? And they thought, what if I wrapped a small tortilla around my hard shell taco? Then it would stay in place and it would still be crispy.
Well, the move was just to get the
Yeah.
the move was just to get the regular shell, then the problem was solved.
They don't stand up and they're hard to put together.
Now, what you need is a tray for your tacos and put those into
Yes.
it. Then you can line them up.
That will also work. That will also work.
That's the move.
But I don't have one of those things.
I mean, they cost like 30 cents.
I don't know what they cost.
30 cents.
Okay.
So is that out of
Feel
your
like
is that like the
I feel
Wagyu
like
steak?
it's probably more than 30 cents.
It's not. You can go to
If you went on Price is Right, you would.
You can go to
you'd be very far from the right price.
You could go to the dollar store right now and pick one up for 30 cents. There's 4 for 25
I bet you
cents.
if I went to the is that really what they are?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. That seems extremely cheap.
That you should go get one.
I mean, if they're that inexpensive, I think I will.
Yeah, I mean, anything that's cheap, you got to get, right? Just like your menu.
Oh,
for
no,
the
but
Masters.
like, this is a
what's
practical.
the cheapest thing I can get? Let's put that on the menu.
No, but no, it's not about cheapness. Although apparently, as I noticed as well on Twitter, I guess the Masters champion is on the hook for the cost of the meal too. So another reason to maybe be a little bit more frugal. But
If there's
I guess if you win the Masters,
he's got his
more-
mom
yeah.
making the soup, so he's saving right there.
I guess if you won the Masters, you probably have enough money you put aside after winning the Masters to cover next year's dinner.
Wait a second. You just complimented Scotty Scheffler for providing sliders, but now you're criticizing John Rahm for this offering?
I'm not criticizing him for the offering in terms of like.
You're saying he's
I
cheap
don't-
for offering
No,
a ribeye
no. I'm
steak
saying-
to people?
No, I'm saying my menu is cost effective, not his.
Because
I mean,
it's
my
cheap,
ideal
because we
one.
know.
Sorry,
No, I'm not
story
talking
story
about
checks out.
All right,
I'm talking about his menu.
Garion, thanks for being here.
No problem.
We miss you.
Yeah, I miss you, Garion.
I don't know. You're pretty mean. So
I don't think I'm mean.
yelling about the Dolphins.
Well, they're not that
See, if I
good
come back-
because I have to be surrounded all the time by people in my life who tell me how great the Dolphins are at all times, and they do it in oftentimes just to get a rise out of me. And it's not that I don't know that, but it's just like
It
at the same time,
feels
I
like
feel
you
And
do.
yet you still rise,
I
don't you?
still feel compelled to answer every charge because they're not that good and they're not that fast. And
Maybe-
they're not that impressive.
Maybe your dad just wants to have something in common with you and wants to talk about football with you.
We cheer for the same hockey team. We cheer for
you,
the same.
well, you don't watch hockey.
Not really. I mean, in part because the Canadians are awful. If they were better, I probably would watch a little more often. We both sort of adopted the Blue Jays when the Expos left, so we both have, sort of do both cheer for that. But no, I hate his football team.
Yeah, but you both watch football.
kinder to
It's
your
nice
dad.
and bonding. My dad tells me about the Bills all the time. I don't really give a shit, but I'm not like, fuck the Bills! Like, what are you doing?
No, and I mean, and it's not a two-way street because he's always very complimentary
Super
of the
supportive.
Jets, very supportive, and I'm just not a big enough person to be able to do that because I despise them.
Well,
I can't stand that team.
if you ever wanted to be a bigger person, what I suggest is keep eating your Masters menu every single day, and you'll be the biggest man alive.
Well, there is truth in that, isn't there?
There sure is. Garion was on the line. Follow me at Garion Thorne. Follow me at the PME Underdog Fantasy. Code Mayo to get a deposit match of up to $100. Sub to the channel. We got way more coming. More football with JJ Zacharyson later on this week. More golf and the Custies. Live debate, 8 p.m. Eastern on Mayo Media Network. Thursday. Be there, okay? See you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!